Hey guys, this is Hell Hades. This is a Raid Shadow Legends video, and today we have got a special guest on the channel. Nub Raids, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Yeah, doing really good. I'm ramping up for a big holiday here, so I'm trying to cram in loads of raid stuff before I go.
Yeah, we were just talking about this actually. Like going away, people
Yeah.
won't appreciate it because it's unlike any job on the planet. When you
Mm.
go away, you're like, okay, I need to try and pre-record a whole ton of stuff that still feels relevant when it goes out. And I was saying I've been away for like a 10-day stretch, and that felt like it was hard to do. But you're away for like a month, right?
Yeah, it's crazy. Like anyone self-employed as well will know. It's like
Yeah,
you're
same
looking at
same concept.
the
Yeah,
cost of the holiday. Like we're going to Japan. It's a big pricey holiday. You're like, oh my
right.
god, it's so expensive. And then you have to stop and think, I'm also out of work basically for most of a month. Like, oh my god,
Yeah.
I'll never
Damn.
financially recover from this. But
Well, everyone, make sure you go and sub to Nubs down below and give him some love while he's away, because I know that it's hard yards trying to think of all those different ideas. But
yeah.
anyway, I mean, today what we're going to do, we're going to look at fusions that have happened in the past, have a conversation about how relevant they were and how strong they were when they came out, or if they had a kind of like moment of fame after that for a particular reason. But then in terms of the tier list, I'm interested to just rate them in terms of how much do you actually use them today. And why I think that's quite fun is because most of the champions that come from fusions, we'll do videos saying actually pretty good, or even yesterday we had a conversation on the new one, and we were like, well, I don't know if we would use them today on our accounts as they are right now, but actually for some players when they first start playing, that could be a really useful champion to help them through. So I thought we'd do the same type of thing here with basically any fusion that's existed.
Cool. Let's do it.
Cool, let's go. So, I mean, the first one goes all the way back to Sir Nick, who I didn't play, sorry, when he was in the mix. How long have you been playing for? You're a bit after me, aren't you?
Yeah, I've been playing. Is it 4 years now? Maybe
4
or
years.
4.
Okay, yeah.
You lose track a bit, don't you?
Do you remember your first fusion, just out of interest?
Yeah. My first fusion was the first one I completed was Pixenheal, believe it or not.
Oh, was it? I didn't actually
Yeah.
do that one. Okay, so I'm just looking at my little dates here.
Yeah.
That's a December 2020.
There you go. Yeah. So coming
Okay,
up on
cool.
4 years. I remember I started playing soon enough after the Kreela fusion because we'll talk about it when we get to her, but everyone in the clan that I joined, every single person was running a budget Kreela unkillable team for
Right,
clan
yeah.
boss. I'm just here going like, I'm never gonna get there. So
Okay,
yeah.
cool. Well, let's talk Sir Nick then. So do you own Sir Nick on your account?
I don't have him. No, I don't.
Okay. So I would say for me, I wasn't around when he came out as a fusion, but I know for anyone who was playing, he would have been huge for their account. Like a Void Legendary with that kind of like massive shield, unkillable ability. Yeah, back then that would have been a big deal as a champ, and probably would have been in near enough everybody's teams that was running that guy. And Sir Nick, I guess, has had his moment of fame, should we call it? For unkillable teams, I guess. Any other kind of like content you see Sir Nick in?
I think wasn't he big in Spider back in the day because he does a
his
massive shield
shields.
when you hit the spider.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I remember seeing that. Yeah, he was pretty hyped, like pretty still hyped up when I started playing for sure.
Yeah.
And yeah, I remember seeing like on going through the Deadwood Jedi site, and you'd have a bunch of different unkillable teams with Sir Nick. Yeah, it's been a long time. I think he's fallen off
Yeah,
quite a
well,
lot since
on
then.
my account, I do own him. I didn't get him from the fusion, but I do own him,
Okay. Mhm.
and he does not sit on any teams for me.
Wow.
Like even faction wars, like he's got a decent amount of damage, but
Yeah.
there's just not a requirement for me to have him. And again, he's not bad, but
Yeah.
for a Void Legendary now, he's probably towards the lower end, I would guess.
Yeah, I'd say so. All right. Yeah, like he used to be one of the hardest hitting HP champs in the game, but now we've got, you compare him to a Taras in Arena, it's like it's not even close, is it?
No.
Yeah.
Okay, well let's move on to Shamrock then. So again, do you own Shamrock?
I do, yes.
I'd imagine he might have more of a place in your
Yeah.
heart than mine, because he's not a bad Hydra champ, is he? I don't think he's ever really been like what you class as a meta champion in any content
No, certainly
from
not.
memory.
I'll tell you right now, I don't think I do use him on any team. I think he's on the bench now for everything, pretty much. He might come in for like one of the Fire Knight bosses or something in Curse City every now and then, but that's about
Okay.
it. But yeah, like you said, I think he's actually pretty decent if you need a good speed manipulator for Hydra.
Yeah.
He's good for that. But to be honest, I like at the moment I don't use him because I've got better options now.
Yeah.
Um,
And
yeah,
has he ever been in like one of your core teams
yeah.
for you personally for Hydra?
I actually think I used him on Nightmare Hydra for a while.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah, because I didn't
So
have a
maybe he's
yeah, I didn't have a
yeah.
Duchess, and I was like, oh, this guy fits into that old school Duchess style team, which is like Royal Guards and Husks and a Krisk and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And he
And
fit into
actually
that.
reducing speed is kind of massive in Hydra. You know, one of the best debuffs you can get to stop those heads just kind of like basically gobbling you up. Like the slower they're going, the less likely they are to eat you. So okay, maybe we'll stick with the bees then as a reasonable.
Pride,
But...
Shamrock, he's up there. Let's go.
but in reality, I mean, if we were really being harsh,
yeah,
he's in both of our vaults. But
yes,
we do have some
harsh
decent
for
options.
now. We can promote him at the end.
Yeah, we might have to change it. Okay.
Yeah.
So the next fusion is actually the first fusion that I was involved with, which is Foley.
Okay.
And Foley was a really hard fusion to get. It was like the first one where players were really well. Saying I didn't do the other ones, I guess, but it was the first one where the community felt like, what the hell are you doing to us? Like this is extreme gameplay to get this guy, and and I guess they just carried on with that.
They certainly did.
The funny thing with Foley is when he came out, he was considered pretty weak. Like everyone thought he looks cool, might be a great arena nuker, has got that block revive, but he just did not hit hard enough to be that relevant.
Right.
And he didn't really get any serious playtime until like Rotus became a thing. And then they realized that Rotus could be killed with his A2. And Rotus was a pain in the ass. So do you own and use Foley?
I do own him. I don't use him anymore. I have used him actually a little bit in the past. Like for a while, he was genuinely the strongest nuker on my account because I pulled him pretty early on. Yeah, I also, I've seen him used a little bit against Sun Wukong. He saw definitely a bit of a resurgence there because he's magic affinity. He's got sort of the double hit against a single target with his block revive AoE. So I saw him a bit, to block revive Sun Wukong.
Yeah.
That's been mostly it. I mean, I used him for a little bit against some Torment teams as well for, the block revive and his passive protects him. But yeah, I think I do have gear on him. I think he does show up sometimes in like Curse City stages as well. Like, cool, slap in the Foley, 4 hits is nice. But yeah, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, similar really. I had a spell of using him a lot in my arena squads. Yeah. As I say, like when Rotus was just everywhere, and when block revive had its kind of like real place in arena reset. Before there was a whole bunch of options that did it well. For me now, I think he's basically benched, but it's one of those champs that because of that block revive, like eventually if I was to +4 him or something, he'd probably come back out again for the same reason, but I mean, I'm nowhere near that. So okay, well, let's keep it moving. So next one out is Morley. Morley's an interesting one because when she first came out, she was considered pretty trash.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah.
I mean, Hydra wasn't a thing.
Yeah.
And she was, like, I used her for a bit in arena. She was a great provoker and therefore difficult to deal with.
Yeah.
Because 2-turn provoke was just like, we've locked your team out. Basically, that was the equivalent of the lockout back then.
Yeah, there's no stone skin back then either, of course.
No.
So, no
stone skin, no polymorph.
Yeah.
And way less options of kind of like doing the full cleanse or that sort of thing. So I guess is Morley someone that you use now?
I don't actually have her. Yeah, no, I never pulled her. Unfortunately, there was a big span of time where I would have really, really wanted her. I actually used her in one of the Deadwood Jedi tournaments. I had to pull for her on the test server. So many shards on the test server to try to get that champion.
Oh, just to pull her, right? I see. Yeah, oh man, that must have been gruesome. Like
it was awful. So many regrets. Oh man, but we did get her in the end. And yeah, no, she was. She's a good champion. Like you said, for Hydra with the provoke, it's actually quite good, and she's doing the turn meter. She has the revive to make it nice and straightforward. But But like again, if I had her, I don't think I actually probably would use her at
Yeah.
the moment.
I've used her up
But
until really recently for
yeah,
Hydra,
yeah.
like consistently in some of my better teams. Like
Hmm.
the provoke, like you say, the revive, the turn meter gain that you get consistently. They're
Hmm.
all really great Hydra things. Only recently, when I've pulled like mythicals and stuff, has she taken
Yeah.
a back seat. Um, and I still use her in like Syntranos for some of the wave based stuff. Again, that any CC really in Syntranos is pretty effective.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, probably. I mean, she feels like she's definitely been more used for me than the rest so far.
Yeah, she's definitely better than those three for sure.
But definitely, like, if I'm being honest, so far all four of these are benched. Like,
Yeah.
if I was being absolutely brutal, they're all C tier right now
Yeah.
in
You
terms
want
of
will
how
we
much I
demote the other
actually use
two
them.
to C and put her at the top of B? Because
Yeah, I
I'm
mean,
just
maybe that's the way
guessing.
it's going to go because we've
Yeah.
got plenty of room.
I'm just thinking ahead to the more
Yeah.
recent fusions, and there's going to be a lot way higher up for sure. So let's be real.
Yeah. Okay, well, next one up is Harvest Jack.
Ah, C tier. Get him out of here.
Easy C. Let's
Easy
just
C.
always been a C as well.
Yeah.
There's no chat there.
It's such a pity. Like I've used him a little bit, but all I've done is just because he's got such high base HP, is slap him in like a shield set or a bolster
Yeah,
set and be like, all
yeah.
right, you protect the team. I don't think I ever even bothered booking the guy. It's such a pity because he's such a cool looking champion. I
He's
wish
cool
he was
looking, yeah.
better.
He's got like the little starter champions like on faces
Yeah.
on it, or his heads on his belt or whatever. Yeah, he's a cool looking dude, but unfortunately useless.
Yeah.
So
Ooh.
my next one is Brackus.
Hmm.
Again, cool looking champ.
Yeah. For me,
And we're still not in the spell where you were actually doing. So I'd done all of these fusions when I could, but yeah, I mean, is he someone that you use?
No, I actually pulled him fairly early on, and like he came into teams just because I think he was my only legendary skinwalker for a good chunk of time. I
Yeah,
can tell you right, he's on the bench right now though. Again, I don't think I ever bothered booking him. I even used him in a cheesy arena team for a while.
yeah,
When you're starting out, and it was like Skull Crown, Brackus, and then a couple of other champs. Like, and the idea was we just sort of die, but just do loads of damage, and that did well enough back in the day, I think, to get even into gold in Tag Arena. I don't think it would work anymore today with the current champs, but it was like, yeah, going with some
yeah.
cheesy
I think
strats
the only
and
place
pray.
where he gets any sort of look in nowadays is maybe like the odd Syntranos wave or something. But even then,
Even
I,
then, yeah,
yeah, it's not got enough going on.
no,
But like same sort of thing. When he came out, I tried to make him work in arena teams, and
hmm
he's got some fun moments, but just way too inconsistent for like
yeah.
a main team. Okay, so Tormund's the next one. This was
Oh,
pretty hard fusion as well. Do you own Tormund?
I do, yeah. I feel like this is a big jump in quality. I think that he maintains to today, but I feel like he's either A or S almost. I don't know.
Well, I do use him pretty consistently in
Yeah,
arena style team. Well, definitely arena teams. He features in some of my squads.
yeah. Like he totally shows up for me regularly in live arena because he's so good against those
Yeah,
speed teams, and yeah, sometimes even in tag. Again, he shows up all the time in Curse City. It's like Tormund's up, great, cool, lock him
yeah,
in, decent
yeah.
damage, great crowd control. Yeah, maybe an
First
S.
one that's like stayed the test of time because he was a
Yeah,
2019,
that's
so he
mad.
was the first. I guess the first Void. Well, actually, pretty rare to get a Void Legendary anyway, right? But yeah, Void Legendary, first one since Sir Nick, and everyone was like, "Damn, this is awesome." When he came out, by the way, he
Hmm.
was busted. Like
Yeah,
you could like literally to the point he broke the game. Like you couldn't move. Everyone was frozen all the time. It was yeah, like he's only like a sliver of what he was, but he's still effective.
it's funny to think, isn't it? Like how because he's still good today. He's still really
Yeah,
good. So how
he was
strong must he have been in
like
2019?
so busted. Yeah, and then they followed it up actually with Rotus.
Ooh, he's S tier as well.
Yeah.
Gotta be. Yeah.
Do you use him outside of Arena?
I do use him for some Doom Tower bosses. I use him for definitely for Curse City bosses as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's really good for that. And then I use him at a decent chunk in Arena. Actually, I probably don't use him in Arena probably as much as Torment. I might actually use
Oh,
Torment
really?
more. Maybe, yeah, just because Rotus, he does get hard countered by several champions in
Yeah.
like live arena, which is a problem. Um,
I mean, there was a spell where I picked him every single time for live arena.
yeah, yeah.
But obviously metas change and he
Mhm.
became like easier and easier. Not easier to counter, but there was just enough counters out there that, you know, once you've locked him in live, it's like, well, unless you lock him in last, you're in trouble.
Yeah, yeah. I
So,
mean, everyone got an ultimate death knight for free, so
yeah,
that
yeah,
was a problem for Rotus for
yeah.
sure.
Yeah. Okay, so a couple of S tiers in there. So we've now got
Mm,
Killian the Lucky.
yeah.
Where is he?
He's another Irish champion, St. Patrick's Day. He's near the top beside Brogny. Um, I've never pulled this
Oh,
guy.
yeah.
Never got him. Um, I believe
Yeah.
that Killian is like a hard carry for like one really nasty stage and one rotation of Centranos. I think that's about it.
Yeah. He definitely lived in my faction war. He's probably still in my faction war team, actually. He lived in my faction
Really?
war team for a long time. He was
Mhm.
like the best lockout champ in the faction for quite a while and
Yeah.
was able to get a decent amount of turns going where he was doing that, like turn meter stuff going on as well. So
Mhm.
for that, he was good and he's still reasonably good. But yeah,
Mhm.
never kind of gone beyond that for me.
Yeah, I kind of feel like he should probably be in C, to be honest.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Again,
fair enough.
I'm harsh, man. I'm like putting everyone in C.
Yeah, just like a full list of C's. Um,
Yeah.
right, next one up is Skull Lord Vargal.
Ooh, he's a very interesting one.
Yeah. So, I mean, are you using him today?
This is another guy I've never pulled actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and again, he's very similar to Molly. I think for a big chunk of time, I did really want him for a Hydra team.
Yeah.
But again, if I got him now, I would not use him for that because he's relies on being played manual. And as much as possible, I try to avoid manual and Hydra. Thank
Well,
you very much.
so I was going between these two actually in different teams
Ah,
for the same kind of job. So
mhm,
both of them really consistently could provoke.
yeah.
I actually ran him on auto pretty well. Like
Okay.
he will do. I mean, he would provoke when he didn't need to, I guess. But like
Mm,
he was pretty consistently being my mischief tank whilst provoking Head of
yeah.
Decay. And yeah, until recently, you know, I was one of the few that got the Archer, and it's basically replaced these two for me, and just with
Yeah.
someone better. But yeah, again, he's not lived in my vault the whole time, and I do still use him now and then in like Sintranos for the Scarab boss because he is
He
able to
does
sort of
that.
destroy max HP.
Yeah, yeah, that was a buff he got, wasn't it? Where
Yeah.
they added that ability in to destroy the max HP, yeah, which made him very strong for that Scarab, which is such an annoying boss. So, yeah, that's fair. Yeah, B. I think B's fair enough for him. All right, it's a cool
Okay,
champ.
so Gerptuck is the next one.
Oh, this is a spicy one,
Yeah, I
man.
mean, kind of trash for most of his life.
Yeah,
Like when he first came out, everyone was like, "What is this guy? He's useless."
yeah,
Um, I mean, he's featured for me a lot in maximum damage videos.
yep, of course.
But I mean, do you have him and do you use him right now?
So I don't have him.
Right.
Now if I did, it'd be difficult to squeeze him into the Trunda team, but he'd almost definitely be going in. Like I feel like it's difficult to rank because, as you said, he's good for that maximum damage thing, and the Trunda team really is like another level of maximum damage. But
Yeah.
he's not used for anything outside of that. He's still an okay Hydra champion just in general, but like sort of mid tier. Yeah, I think A is probably fine. It's like absolutely god tier in Trunda comps and Hydra, which are
Yeah.
absolutely busted, but not really for anything else, I don't think.
And that's exactly what I use him for. Like
Yeah, yeah.
on a once a week he comes out, but he does a lot of work in that time.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely. Okay, that sounds fair.
Mhm.
Right, we're up to Kantra.
Ooh.
Kantra's an interesting one as well because she feels really similar to me to the way
Yeah.
I've used Morley and Vargal. Like
Mhm.
if
100%.
I
Yeah,
wanted a provoker, she was the one.
I feel like she's sort of B tier as well, for sure. Like she's a champion. I do have gear on her. I don't use her much, but she comes out in the odd, mostly Curse City, I'd say now for me.
Yeah,
I tried her for a bit in Hydra, and I liked her a long time ago. I haven't liked her at all recently because she's got that 75% chance to provoke every turn. And you're like, that's great. but then the 75% fails a couple of times. You're like, this absolutely sucks. 'Cause
Yeah,
it
you
fails
just need
quite
that
often.
consistency, don't you? That's the trouble. Like as soon as you
Yeah.
lose consistency in Hydra, your teams are going to fail. It's just
Yeah, 100%.
yeah,
I much
yeah,
prefer
used it for the same way.
yeah. So, but she does. Funny enough, it's the provoke is nice, but almost nowadays I kind of prefer just she has the triple hit AOE on a short cooldown. That's great, and the A1, she's pretty good for some of the Fire Knight bosses in Curse
Finite,
City.
yeah, definitely. Yeah,
So yeah,
that's
like
probably where I use it now myself actually,
yeah, Curse City MVP. So
because
the new
she's also got
backstory.
the potential to put out the heal block, hasn't she?
Mm-hmm.
So again, if
Yeah,
like Curse City Fire Knight boss, once you got the shield down, you try and get that
yeah,
pray to the RNG gods that she actually puts out heal
yeah.
reduction as well. Okay, then so Creela's up
Oh,
next.
yes, this is where round about where I started, or just
Yeah,
after this is when I started.
I-
I still use Creela a decent chunk. I'd say she's probably A, would be my thought. I think she's even kind of underrated. Depending on how many ally attack champs you have. I mean, she brings increased attack for your team and the ally attack. I use her in quite a few Doom Tower bosses for sure. I actually used her on my Nightmare Hydra team until about a month ago when I pulled
oh,
Lady
did you?
Mikage. No joke.
Oh, interesting. Yeah,
Yeah. Just because it's like, okay, she does pretty decent damage. She brings the buff I need, ally attack. If you build your team around her increased crit rate buff as well, you can also push some pretty good damage.
yeah. I mean, I've used her a ton
Yeah.
over the time that I've had her. Like
Yeah.
some arena comps that I've run, some finite teams that I've built,
hmm
clan boss teams that I've run. Like she's definitely been in and amongst teams, and yeah, I think A is pretty fair because I still use her a lot in. I still use her in my hard finite team actually right now, but
Yeah. Wow.
yeah, she still gets a look in.
Yeah.
So
Like I
you know,
think the only downside with Creela really is I think Mikage Form 1 sort of power creeps are pretty hard because it's you have
yeah,
to
true,
attack
yeah.
as a full team ally attack. It's more consistent. But Creela's got that nice short cooldown ally attack. I like her actually still to this day.
Okay, so the next one up is Drockle.
Ooh,
Drockle is
he's up near the top.
oh, there he is. Yeah, I'll be honest. This guy
Yeah.
might just go straight in.
He
Like,
should, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever used him in any team really. Like maybe like the odd thing if I'm trying to do something desperately trying to fit him in, but basically it's not possible.
Yeah, no, he's not great. Like he brings some okay buffs, but it's one of those champions on paper you're like, he seems all right, and then he's got very little actual use.
Yeah.
I've tried a few times as well, and he just never does anything spectacular.
And then we've got the sausage.
Ooh.
YST loves the sausage. Actually, I've had a couple of videos where he's just like, this is for him.
Yeah, I think he's better than C for sure. He's such a weird one. He got a massive buff, and he actually is pretty solid now. But it was like the massive buff came at a time when I think a lot of us have been playing for so long that he's actually not that useful for us. So
Yeah,
it's a
like if you
weird
pulled
one.
him today and you're
Yeah.
a newer player, you'd probably have a ton of use for him.
Oh, 100%. 100%. He's got
I
buff
I
strip.
don't think I've ever really had him in any of my teams, even
Mm.
since he came out. Like I don't think he's ever really featured for me.
Yeah, no, same. He's not been in any team. I've used him a little bit in Curse City. He's got the shielding and some nice debuffs and things. But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I sort of like bottom of B or top of C would be sort of my vibe for him. Like he's
Let's throw him
definitely.
in.
Yeah,
I don't know, man. I was just saying let's throw him in B, but
we could put him near the top of C. I feel like he's definitely like he's way better than Harvest Jack. But then to be fair, I don't really use him, so he does sort of belong in C.
he features in C. Yeah. Okay, we'll keep him in C for now. Like if it feels like C's getting too bloated, we might move him up. But
Yeah.
Okay. Well, next one is
speaking of-
Elegaeus is the next one.
Straight into C.
Let's just get on with it. Yeah. Useless.
Yeah. So
and then we're on to your champ. So
yes.
first one that you actually did. I didn't do Pixel. It was the first fusion that I was playing the game really hardcore that I didn't do. My first skip.
You didn't miss much.
Yeah. Have you ever used her? Or
I put her in C. The funny thing with Pixel, so they buffed her, quote unquote, massively. She used to have a 5 hitter that could freeze.
Yeah.
And then they buffed it to be an AoE freeze. And at the time, we were like, oh, great. AoE freeze, way more useful. At least that's something. And then a few months later, they came out with Fire Knight Hard. I'm like, yeah, you actually do want those multi-hit freezes.
Yeah, you want her back to her old form. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. I actually think she's fairly decent, but she needs so many bucks to be useful.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, yeah, no, she's just never, unfortunately, been great. If they do a
Yeah.
super hard Frost Spider, she might come back, but that's probably about it.
Okay, Brago's the next one.
Ooh.
Brago's featured for me loads over the years in like what I'd call like old school clan boss teams.
Yep.
He had a great so he's one of the few champions that puts increased defense up and keeps it up the whole time, and he gives you that aura basically of extra defense based on his, or passive I guess, but based on his defense number. So I use him tons for that, and you know, if we were doing this a couple of years ago, he'd probably be like an S for me, but nowadays he's down in the vault. Well, a bit of Cintranos, I guess.
Yeah, he's a funny one because he was so good when he first came out, right? He was so strong.
Yeah.
But he's definitely fallen off for sure over time. Like he's still decent, but you know, I actually whipped him out of the vault for the first time because I was doing a video on the orc faction unity guy, and I was like,
oh yeah,
there's so few good orcs. So Brago actually came into that team, and he was all right actually.
He does good damage. That's the thing. He hits pretty hard, but his kit's just kind of irrelevant nowadays.
Yeah. Again, I feel like he's better than some in the C tier, but he probably is, you know,
as he probably C,
high C, that sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, which feels like a shame because he's like when you say when he came out, he was really strong. Like he was a great pickup when he came out. Okay, we'll leave him down there for now. Astralon then's the next one.
Oh wow. He would be low B for me. I think he is actually still in my faction war team. Actually, maybe Brago is. No, I think I took Brago out of my faction war team for just more attack-based nukers to do.
Yeah, same.
Astralon's still in my faction war team. He's not great though. I've personally never been a big fan of Astralon, but when he came out, he did have a 100% AoE stun, and that's pretty valuable.
Yeah,
and he did decent damage at the time. I think his damage capabilities have really fallen off, and I think a 4-turn AoE as your only big attack kind of sucks these days.
Yeah, but he had his moment to shine when he was, like say, that 100% stun was quite rare to get, and you know he'd go into like normal spider teams and be the way to set up your burner. So you'd almost build him as like no gear apart from some accuracy, and then you know it'd get the job done. But and he had a bit of use, I guess, in arena. But like you say, his damage now is nowhere near what others do. Like he's so far below.
Yeah, and even like, you know, it's just in terms of that was back in February 2021. Like you compare that to Arman's, 3 years later?
Yeah,
it's like the 3-turn AoE stun with all the turn meters. Steel.
Yeah.
It's like that's power creep displayed in the game right there.
It's like you're playing a different game at that point. It's yeah. Okay, so Yoshi the drunkard.
Oh, I like Yoshi. He goes in probably B.
So I used him quite a bit in Arena Reset.
Right.
Like when Stone Skin was prevalent, we wanted Stone Skin to drop off, and then he'd like boost my my nuker, but also boost my accuracy on. I think he boosted accuracy as well.
Yeah.
Or maybe I can't remember what he did, but anyway, he was part of my squad that was able to be a go second team.
Right.
I don't use him a ton anymore though. So where are you finding use for him right now?
So the main place I use him is in Siege, actually, for bomb teams because of the increased attack, increased accuracy. And then he's actually decently useful against some of the bosses in Curse City and stuff like that with the 2-turn cooldown burn and decrease accuracy. So he's okay. I'll be honest, he probably would deserve more to be in the C, to be fair, but I do like him, so I kind of want to put him in the low B. I think
that's fine. That's fine. I think we need a few more Bs anyway, so that's all good. Okay, so Brogni is the next one.
Ooh.
I mean, Brogni for a time
was
I considered a top 3 champion in the game.
100%, he was, yeah.
And used him. He was my clan boss team for a long time. He answered a lot of questions in Doom Tower. He's decent enough in arena. Like it's generally been pretty versatile, I think.
Yeah, there's the Corpulent Cadaver era of Hydra as well, where Brogni was top tier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you still use him now
No, barely ever.
consistently.
I use them
Yeah.
against some Doom Tower Curse City bosses just for like the shield and the healing, that sort of thing. But
Yeah.
apart from that,
Interesting as well, because he would absolutely have been an S tier
100% he was. Yeah,
for when
absolutely. I mean, he was the
when
best
he came
fusion of
out,
all
and
time.
for a long time. Not
Yeah,
not just when he came out, but funny
yeah.
now that even though I reckon if we did this a year ago,
Mm-hmm.
he might have been sitting in S, definitely A.
I
But
personally, I'd be putting him in B, probably high up
yeah,
in
I don't use him a
but
ton anymore. He's still
no.
effective. Like he's still got a good kit.
Yeah, like for me, there's no question that Kreela and Gerptuk, Rotus, Torment, I use all of those way, way more than Brogni. He is in that sort of like, for me, that sort of faction warsy Cursed City range.
Yeah,
Um, like those other champs in B. Yeah,
yeah.
it's mad to see how things have changed
It
actually when
is.
you look
It's
at it.
crazy actually. Like I can't believe we're throwing Brogni into a B. We're going to get absolutely
Yeah.
slammed in the comments for that one. Um, especially
Sorry,
if people
guys.
didn't get like the vibe of what this video was about. Um, right. So Ruel is the next one.
Yeah,
Huntsmaster.
I've never been a big fan of him. For me, he's definitely a C tier. I know some people have used him. Like I think Final Compachi was using him in a good Hydra team for a while. I personally find him fairly weak. Sounds maybe a bit
Fairly
better on
weak, but
paper.
also he hits insanely hard.
Yeah,
Or
quite hard. Yeah,
he hits very hard, but his kit's very awkward. He's
yeah,
really squishy to use. Like you almost
hmm
have to build a team just around activating Ruel, which
yeah, yeah.
has been the issue for me. Like again, I've done videos with him in Hydra where I'm like, damn, this is a great champ, but you have to build the whole team around making that happen, which you can't really afford to do.
No,
So
no, and like there's just way stronger options these days as well. Like, we'll touch on like Razelvarg, Thor, etc. are
yeah,
just like so much more damage, so much
yeah,
more easily than he ever could be. So yeah, I've just never really used him to be honest. I've
okay.
tried and not been impressed.
Let's jump on to Herndig then. So Herndig,
Ooh, he's actually pretty good.
yeah, he's good.
I for me, on my account, he's a B. He's like Curse City, great. Faction Wars, use him for sure in that team. He's brilliant. I don't use him for anything much else, but he can farm Nightmare Campaign and stuff pretty darn well.
There was a
Um,
spell where he was one of the go-tos for Dark Fae as the kind of
yeah, yeah,
ability to to nuke the wave, reset himself. Like there was a lot of good stuff going on for him.
yeah. I used him for that. Yeah, because it was great on auto because you get to the boss and it would not matter if you had his moves on cooldown for the waves because he could just
Yeah,
A1 your copies, get extra turns to get back to his moves. It was actually very handy. And the turn meter steal as well on his A3. But I don't use him much now.
yeah. So that's yeah, same. He's definitely a B tier for me.
Yeah. Ooh.
Okay.
Ooh.
Damn, it's feeling pretty harsh here on the fusions. All these fusions, which were must gets at the time, are looking pretty low right now.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Like, when you've no champions, these guys can be game changing. And
Oh yeah, yeah.
like at the time, yeah, some of them definitely were.
Because if you're a
Brogni-
new player, Brogni or Herndig today are still really
Oh,
effective
man.
champs, like massive champions.
Yeah, 100%.
Right, Versolf is up next.
Yeah. Another one for the C pile.
Straight in the C. I wasn't sure if you were going to say B actually, because he is
Nah.
a half decent Hydra champ, but
Yeah. Oh no, I never liked him for Hydra.
oh, did you not? Okay.
No, he's very his provoke is so inconsistent. I used him a bit, when I was really stuck for champs for a while, but no, I'm just not a fan of him. He can hit really quite hard, but it's very difficult to set up the double hit on his A2.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
So yeah, no, I'm not a fan.
Okay, well, I've never really used him a bunch. I've shown him in some clan boss teams, but only for those that don't have better options, really.
Mhm.
So Mother Sibel's an interesting one here.
Very interesting.
When she first came out, I was top of the list of someone slamming her as pretty much useless. But I actually use her. Like,
Oh,
I use her in. So I've used her in some Hydra stuff.
yeah.
Pretty consistently up until about a year ago. She was in the Hydra team for me as a good lead and that kind of like AoE A1. I've used her showcasing some cool teams for what's the name, Sand Devil, and an alternative to Godseeker.
Yeah, revive
But
on tech.
yeah, but yeah, I use her a little bit now, not a ton. Probably for me, maybe a B. But
Yeah.
does she get up more than that for you?
No, like again, same as yourself. I used her a lot. She was a Hydra MVP for me for a long, long time. I still have her in the provoke set. I ran her in Hydra actually, and she's brilliant for Curse City. Yeah, she's so fast and spamming
Yeah,
out that A1 is great, and the speed aura is great. So yeah, I definitely use her a lot more than some of the others in the B for sure. But again, I don't use her that much anymore. To be fair, like I just have better champs now that do more.
yeah.
Uh, so
Okay.
yeah.
Next one is Rorik.
Oh.
Is he straight in the seas?
For me, he is, yeah.
Yeah,
I don't
I
know if
don't even
you've
think
used him.
the only person I've known to use him is Saf. Honestly, like,
Yeah, I'm not a fan. I think I did build him up for a couple of Curse City stages where you're really stuck, but it's like I'm really stuck. I guess I'll use this guy. I've
yeah,
never
who's
liked
this
it.
guy type of thing? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Sigmund.
Sigmund, I used him for a while. Again, right now he'd probably be sort of high C for me at the moment, where I don't actually use him for anything. But like, if I saw him pop up on a Curse City stage that was hard, I'd be like, oh, hey, this guy's actually great, you know?
Yeah, throw some gear on him, sort of thing. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. But to be fair, I don't use him at the moment. But yeah,
I
um,
don't know if I've ever used him honestly, like
right.
since I got him. But
Hmm.
again, I know that he's got some potential there. It's just I've just got better options. I think.
Yeah, like I think
Um,
he's a better champion than half of the ones in C, but he's
yeah,
not
yeah.
really used though. So that's how the list
That's the
works.
way
If
we're
he's
doing
not
it.
used, he's in C. It's simple as that.
Right, Vlad. Vlad feels like to me was fairly recent, but we're talking 2021 here.
Yeah, he got buffed massively as well. He used to be
Yeah,
kind of mid. I think he's quite decent now. For me, he'd still be a B. He's definitely in faction wars. I actually use him for I think clearing quickly through Doom Tower normal because he's got the two AoEs, does decent damage. If I had a big soul for Vlad, I'd probably use him more. I know Saf uses him a good bit in even arena, like live arena.
if
Um,
you've got Constantine, I think
yeah,
that's the
yeah,
thing. Like if you've got the two together, then they actually become pretty effective.
yeah, yeah.
Um, again, I've got him, and I've got a 3-star soul, I think, and I don't use him much.
Right.
Again, I might throw some gear on him for Sintranos stuff,
Yeah, he's
but
super
again,
good for
since his buff, he's good. Like it's
that.
just yeah, I haven't. He's not like he's in a meta team or good teams to speed farm certain stuff, so he just becomes like
No.
a good all round and nuker type of dude.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah. But
then
he
it
is
depends
again,
what options you got.
he's
Yeah,
another example of those like Brogni or Herndig, where if a new player gets them, it's like, oh man,
it's
this guy's
huge.
gonna be so
Yeah,
good for you.
yeah.
But yeah, late game, he's there for some stuff, but not too much.
So the next one up is Vildrax. Who's
Oh gosh,
Vildrax?
he's a epic. I don't even know if he's
Oh, okay.
epic
I haven't got Epic Sonic. I was like, who that? Oh, is it the bugged one?
yeah, he's terrible.
Yeah, I know the one. Right. Okay. Yeah,
He's
yeah.
dreadful.
I was like, who is that? Right, Tatora is the next
Oh,
legendary. Where's the
uh-huh.
lion? There.
He Yeah, Tatora for me is sort of like again low B. Like he's really nice for some Curse City stuff, but I
Mm,
don't use it for anything important. Um,
no, he actually carried me in one of those clan boss competitions,
yeah, yeah,
but I had to manual every time it got towards like the clan boss's A3. So it was a long old run, but
Oof.
he was really good. Like again, if people are happy to manual, he's really strong for that. But
Mhm.
um,
He
and he does bring perfect veil, right? So
he
there's
does.
a Hydra option, but I don't use him for that.
No, he also has the 100% chance for decreased accuracy on his A1, which is quite nice actually. Yeah, for Bommel, like he can be really
Bommel, yeah.
reliable decreased accuracy. He's got good uptime, increased defense. Like, yeah, he's one of those champs that's like pretty decent, but not really wow. I sort of feel.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, agreed. Okay, a pardon.
yeah. A
See
pardon,
straight
straight
for
in the
you.
sea. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like lots of healing, but you don't actually need that much healing anywhere in the game,
yeah,
really.
yeah. And then
Yeah,
we got Karato. I don't own Yumiko, which I guess would make
right.
him a bit better. But for me, he's never really been
Hmm.
like a meta champion. But for you, has he been like living in any of your teams?
He's in faction wars actually. So for me, he's technically low B. Because I do have a Yumiko, and they're really good together for faction wars. I
Yeah,
use him a little bit in arena, but he's just not great. He doesn't hit super hard, and he's got no survivability, so it's actually really hard to keep him alive. Um,
yeah. Which I
so
guess
yeah,
is fair because Yumiko's so strong. Like if he was strong as
yeah.
well,
Oh
damn,
yeah,
that would be nuts.
yeah. I think though, like it kind of show like for instance, he's there beside Vlad. I think Yeah, Vlad is just a much better champion in comparison because
Yeah,
Karato is like even with the Yumiko, it just doesn't shine. Yeah,
definitely.
Karato. I'd
Okay,
like to.
Nari the Lucky is the next one.
YST likes Nari. I don't.
I think
Yeah,
he's straight in the sea.
straight in the
He's never come out of my vault. I know I've
No,
seen
me
he had his kind of like time. Was it in some arena teams? I'm sure he came out where people are like, "You're wrong about this guy. He's really good."
Nah, surely not. I
I
don't
think
remember that.
so. We'll
Maybe.
probably find out below. Like, we're like, "You're totally wrong."
No, I think he's not great. He's not great, unfortunately.
Okay, well, this is someone for me that I actually really do like.
Okay.
Gaius the Gleeful, maybe for me it'd probably be A. Like,
Wow. All right. Yeah.
it's really got options for some alternative arena play, and like with Siege being something which I actually enjoy. Like I'm playing around with different types of team comps and stone skinners everywhere, so
Yeah.
suddenly you've got a relevance for him. But
Yeah.
is he someone that you use or have played with?
It's very similar. I use him every siege. Basically, he comes in for some of those mana shrines, 100% with the bombs.
Yeah.
And then he is very good for waves as well with the sleep and the bombs. He's can really hard carry some nasty waves. But I don't use him too much apart from that. Yeah, for me, he'd probably be sort of like high B. I wouldn't use him as much as the A's, but no, if you want to put him in A, I'm fine with that. Like Gaius, he's quite unique. He's quite good.
Yeah, I'd definitely say I use him more than anyone else like below that. So
Yeah.
we'll stick him towards low A's for now.
Cool.
Okay, cool. Who was next here? Bivold of the Fawn. Interesting one.
Yeah. For me, I don't use him anywhere right now. So he'd be
No.
But again, he's one. He comes in and he's gonna be good for any Curse City type stuff. He is actually a solid Hydra champion. Again, he's not top tier. You've got better like if you got like Chris, Synergicante Archer, it's tough to compete with that.
Yeah.
But he is a great provoker for Hydra that's doing some decent damage and helping your team stay alive. He can mischief tank as well potentially. So he's pretty decent. But yeah, he's sort of like a decent champ that's just not really used end game.
Yeah. I agree with that. I think again he was in the same sort of conversation for me when I was building out teams on Hydra.
Yeah.
With Kantra, like which one would I rather use? There was times where I've used him, but he never consistently like stayed in a team for me. Okay, this is a cool one. So I had a free to play going on whilst Helicath came out, and I mean probably one of the most impactful fusions ever at that point.
Like, yeah. Oh, 100% he was, yeah.
Bang straight into S, and maybe there was an argument that he's the best ever fusion at that point.
Yeah,
for the average player. So I guess in terms of this though, how often are you using Helicath?
Like this is one where I've got a bias that I know is unfair, where I don't really like Helicath, but
oh really? Yeah,
but I would rate him lower than I think would actually be accurate for the list. I barely use mine at all. I don't even think he's in my faction war team anymore.
Don't use him live arena or anything like that.
No, never.
No.
But a lot of people do. A lot of people do, and he's so clutch for Iron Twins and that sort of stuff. But I don't use him. So I find I'm conflicted in terms of how to rate him. I feel like he probably should be in the A, but at the same time, I don't use him. I don't know how you feel, but I don't.
Let's have a look. Like, do I have any gear on mine? This might be the deal breaker here.
Yeah,
he's in the vault. He is geared. Okay, so but
no glyphs.
Not properly geared.
Not properly. He probably goes into probably low rank then. To be fair, that's mad, isn't it?
But that is bad. But he is effective. Like say, he's effective. But
yeah, it's the Brogni syndrome where he's like such a hard carry, like best fusion of all time when he came out, and for new players, but doesn't hold up as well late game. I mean, you do see people do use them in arena and live arena,
definitely,
and that's fair. But I mean, this is the list for how much we use them, and we don't.
Yeah, I definitely come up against him in like Siege and stuff like that. Like he's still used at a decent level in arena, but yeah, not really by me.
No.
Okay, Walking Tomb Drain. I actually didn't do this fusion.
I did. He's decent.
I don't own him actually. I've never picked him up either.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
He's a nice one. For me, he's a B. I use him sometimes. The great thing about him is he's got the burn that's irresistible, which is great, and it's an AoE burn. So it's very nice. I don't know. I got a second newt, so now I don't use him in spider, but he was in my spider team for a good bit for just, guaranteed burn. No
Yeah.
3% chance to fail, and then you do burn explosion, and he helps your team stay alive. He's a very solid champ. Um, yeah, he's sort of funny. He doesn't have the wow factor of like a Helicath or a Brogni, but I feel like over the entire lifespan of the game on my account, I've used him as much as those easily. Funny how things work, Just
Yeah.
simple but effective.
I guess that irresistible burn just makes it. You lose the inconsistency as well, don't you? Like,
Yeah.
if there is one, yeah. Okay, Lonothriel here.
This guy, I feel like got better with time.
Yeah, like when he
skipped him.
first came out, I would have been like, nah, don't
Yeah.
bother, like useless. But actually,
Yeah.
I do use him.
Mhm. For me now, he's sort of B. Yeah, but I did use him for a little bit. I actually got him 6-star, and I finally pulled him and took ages. Like, yes, this is great. But then it was only a little bit before I got Mikage, and then Mikage is just
Yeah, it just does the
again
same job
better.
but better. Yeah.
Um,
Again, I was using him in my hard finite team for a while
yeah,
with Creeder actually, but
Yeah.
yeah, I think B's fair. I still use him a little bit in Sintranos for some
Oh,
stuff.
100%.
He's quite
Yeah.
tanky and he's got some decent skills there. In fact, I used him in the first clear that I did, right towards the end. I can't remember the actual level, but there was one level where it was like, I just have to keep rerunning this guy and hope that I land my stuns and stuff. But yeah, the ally attack with your stunners just gave you an extra bit of chance.
Yeah. I mean, ally attack is it's held so much value and it scales. I think it's because it scales well, I think is the point where, so long as they keep bringing in stronger champions that you can ally attack with,
Yeah.
ally attack is like, yeah, I'm just even better now. I scale up really well, whereas other champions can become more outdated.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a go-to for me for any Centrano stage. You're like, oh, Nathral's in there. Let's go. Excellent.
Okay, so Mighty Uko. I remember when Mighty Uko came out again, like very, very strong. Was in that conversation of up there as one of the better ones that's ever existed.
Yep.
I still use mine a lot, actually.
Yeah, I'd be going like high A probably. I don't use Uko maybe as much as F. The funny thing is, I wasn't using Uko that much. I just pulled a 6-star soul for Uko, so now I'm using Uko more.
Yeah.
So that's where the soul thing comes into it and makes it hard to judge. But
definitely,
yeah, he's really good. He was used for a while, a good bit in Hydra. I don't love him in Hydra though. I think he's more of a budget option, but he does bring a lot. And just he can be really annoying in arena, stealing the buffs, and solid champ.
And I use him actually a lot in Amius as well.
Yeah,
it's that A1 decrease attack, the revive if you need it. Buff strip. Actually, find him really solid there.
He's like a go-to for siege as well. Like I don't use him in the main teams, but I get to the rebattles, the mana shrines, and I'm like, Uko's coming in for sure twice, 100%. He's in there. So I use him a good bit still.
Okay, Marinix.
You know what? Marinix is actually on my hard spider team.
Okay.
So I use Marinix more. It's hilarious because she is objectively not that good, but AoE decreased defense and Hex is actually genuinely useful. The rest of the champ kind of sucks, but that one move, she's on my hard spider team. Double move, Marinix, reset, boom.
I've used her a touch, but not a lot. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, damn, if you're using her, then fair enough. Like she's got to go into the bees.
Yeah, it's funny. Loads of people skipped her fusion as well.
Yeah. Okay, Morrigan as well. So Morrigan I skipped. And yeah. I kind of wish that I didn't now because she's kind of got some use in she had a decent spell, I guess, for Amius. I think she's still in the mix there.
Definitely.
Do you use her at all?
Mostly just for Amius. You could use her again in Siege as well, and she's decent for some Curse City stages. I'd be sort of like low B. Like she does just because she's got that heal reduction every turn that can't be removed. She just hard carries Amius one of those rotations, and he's such a pain in the butt that it's like it's well worth having her and just building her just for that. But she doesn't see a ton of play, I think, outside of it. So I feel like she's a B. Nishak. I like Nishak.
Yeah, he's definitely higher up.
I'd be putting him in A. I use him more than Gaius. I think he's better than Gaius for arena. simply because his affinity just works out pretty well for it for some reason.
Right.
And because he can lower bombs to a 1 turn,
Sure.
that's really
Yeah.
useful. Whereas guys can struggle, you get the bombs out, but if they're in stone skin and they can cleanse and you haven't locked them out, they can cleanse. That's a problem. So I
Yeah.
do use Nishak more, and he's got an attack aura, which is good. And he's also obviously hard carries Bommel as
Bommel.
well.
Yeah. I mean, I use him every rotation. Bommel's around. Like
Yeah.
the speed farm.
hmm
Um,
But I pick him semi-regularly in live arena, and I have to ban him semi-regularly in live arena as well. I think people underestimate bombs quite a bit in this game. But like if you don't have a bomb counter and you don't have lots of polymorph, which most players don't have lots of polymorph, let's be real. He
yeah.
can just like you last pick him in live arena and he can just like win the fight. They have to ban him or they let him through and they lose in like 10 seconds. It's great.
Interesting. Yeah. I've never really done a bomb team for live arena, but that sounds like it'd be super fun because
Yeah.
most people are not picking to expect it. I think.
Yeah, no, they don't. It's definitely you obviously don't want to first pick him,
No,
and then like,
no.
all right, run. That's fine.
Bring it on. Yeah.
Yeah. But he's such a good last pick, and again, he comes in every single siege as well. He's getting used twice, no question. And so one of the first things I actually do in siege is I go, can I bomb their team?
Oh,
Because
really?
again,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a big weakness actually. Like I was kind of laughing about it because I was looking at our mana, like our clan is like number 9 in the game or something. I was looking at one of our mana shrines. I was like, oh my god, every team in this mana shrine can be bombed. It's dreadful.
Yeah. Sure.
But yeah.
I think my teams would be as well. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, because the meta swung so far into stone skin and that
Right,
style that it becomes a hard counter to it.
Yeah. Like Commodus is absolutely busted, by the way. That mythical, he's so strong. He's
Mm.
the bomb mythical. So if you have him, you're lucky.
Well, this is what I've been struggling with. Mythicals,
Mm.
I don't know them well enough for Siege. So I go up against, when it's kind of like, well, this is this faction only or whatever. And I'm like, oh yeah, they got a mythical in their team. And I'm like, I kind of know his kit. And then I think I've won the fight. And then I get hard wrecked. And I'm like, I should have really like gone in, rechecked the kit, rebuilt my teams. Like, there's actually a ton of work. If you really want to play Siege well, there's a lot of kind of like min-maxing of squads, isn't there?
Yeah. Like you kind of run into the mythicals every now and then in live. It depends how far up you are in live arena as well. Like if you're at the top, you're gonna see mythicals like every fight. And then like at the level I'm at, where I'm much more casual in live arena, I'm like I see, maybe 1 to 2 mythicals pretty much every fight as well. And you sort of learn them slowly doing that. But it's like when you fight against them and they wreck, you're like, what just happened? Oh yeah, okay, that's what it is.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, definitely. And then it's like, I wish I'd. And the trouble is with Siege, it's like, oh well, I've just used my second fight for that champ that is actually still the perfect champ to fight them, but I should have brought someone else in on the team.
Yeah.
And then you're like, and now I've run out of options. Like I'm now scraping the barrel of epics and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right, Pythian is up next. What are we saying?
Oh, like that's a tricky one. He's definitely at least IB or low A, I think. He's not S for sure. I use him a moderate amount. Probably low A is probably fair. Like he's just lots of healing, lots of survivability. Use him a lot in Cursed City, Nether Spider.
Yeah.
I did use him for a good bit in Arena, but not anymore. Yeah, I don't
The
know.
only reason he's picked up for me in Arena is because I've got Teox, and Teox needs other lizards. But yeah, still really solid, like really solid Arena champ.
Yeah.
Really solid general carry, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I kind of like him beside the Helicath, Brogni, Drang. Just like these are like really solid champs, but quite as useful. And just generally.
I think he probably for me sees a bit more playtime than that group.
Yeah.
Okay, low A. That sounds good. So we're moving on to the more recent ones, really. I guess still over a year ago though. So we've got Oella.
Been a lot of fusions.
Yeah, it just doesn't feel like these were that long ago to me. But obviously, time flies.
Yeah, it does.
I mean, Oella for me, I don't use a ton.
Yeah,
or really at all. But is she someone that gets playtime for you?
No, not anymore. For me, again, she's C tier right now. Doesn't get used at all. Didn't even have gear on for a good while. I did use her a good chunk when she came out again, because just the increased resistance and the healing, she's great. Did some fun Hydra stuff with her, but realistically, I never use her anymore. And like again, not even that useful. And in Siege or Curse City or anything like that. So she's just in the vault pretty much.
And Supreme Elhain, decent damage dealer.
Yeah, for me, she's B. She's in the team faction war team. I actually used her a lot. She was my campaign and Minotaur farmer, but that's been replaced since.
Yeah.
War is my current one.
Do you use her in Arena at all?
No, not anymore. No. I used her for a bit against like Necrets and stuff like that. But then you don't see that many anymore, and I've got a Narcisse now anyway. So
yeah, and this is it, isn't it? Just like the change of the guard. Because I suppose when she came out, she still wasn't top tier, but she was pretty hard hitting.
Yeah,
but that's not really enough anymore to just be able to hit hard. You need some other funky stuff going on.
She's like one of those decent champs. She's like void, decent damage, nice bit of utility, but yeah, she's not that strong. Like she doesn't have the wow factor. That the top like a Rotus or a Torment has a bit of a wow factor. She doesn't have that at all.
Yeah, no, I agree. Ralzavag's an interesting one.
Yeah, this guy, I think he deserves to be an A. Is my thought. I don't use mine that much anymore, but like he's always in the Doom Tower. He's always in the Cursed City stages. He hard carries those. He used to be in my Hydra stuff. He's actually not in them at the moment. Doesn't quite fit in. But like a lot of endgame players absolutely do use him in Hydra, and he's amazing.
And it's in like big teams. They're like billion
big teams
scoring teams on Nightmare. I think he would get a lot more playtime if these like silly teams didn't exist. If like the Yannicka teams and the Trunda teams and stuff like that. Because if you had to go for like proper builds, I think he would be in a lot of teams.
Yeah, like if Trunda didn't do what Trunda does, Razabarg would be still my Hydra teams. Yeah, but again, it's like one team is the Trunda cheese team, and then I could probably do a Wixwell cheese team as well, but
I just built one yesterday.
Oh god,
I've succumbed to the Wixwell cheese.
Nice.
Oh,
I haven't done that yet, but yeah, Razavarg, I think he should be probably high A. Like he is objectively better than I'd say everyone else in A. Actually, I think he's sort of top of A. I think he's real good, but I don't personally use him crazy amount anymore. He's just like, I wish I could use him more, basically.
Yeah, it was in some like hard high Fire Knight teams, definitely.
Fire Knight as well.
Yeah, he's got loads of viability. That's the thing. But if I was being brutally honest, for me, in terms of how much I actually use him, he's probably high B. But I should use him more than I do. That's why I kind of agree. Like if he's probably like mid A for me in terms of use. But
that's fair. Yeah, do you want to put him there then? Because I probably use him about as much as I use like Krila and Nishak, similar sort of thing.
Yeah.
Similar to all the A's, really, for me.
Okay, so Jetney the Giant.
Yeah, not great. Not great.
I busted her out for the first time when I really started to push Sintranos.
Yeah.
And she was decent.
But not great.
For that. But low B, maybe? Like.
Yeah, sure, if you like. I'd probably put her in the C. I'd be kind of ruthless. I tried her, and I was like, she's one of those just sort of mid. She's like Vlad, but not as good.
Who does she pair up with? She pairs up with someone, doesn't she?
She pairs up with Alsgore, yeah. So
Alsgore, that's why I busted her out, because I had Alsgore in the same team.
Yeah.
And that pairing, for Sintranos only, by the way, worked pretty effectively for me, but that's the only time she comes out. Literally, it's like when that rotation hits.
Like I think for most people, you just save your bucks. Like you don't need her. She's not
She's definitely not like worthy of time and effort. Probably don't. Just up there actually. Right, what are we up to? Great Hoof.
Wait, is she missing? We missed her.
Let's see her.
Oh no.
Let's pretend.
Let's pretend he's her.
Let's pretend Ratin is her.
Wow. Yeah. She got buffed, but I've not seen anyone use her. I've never used her. Actually, I don't even think I have her. I think I don't even have her.
And I think Razin sits in the same place, honestly. Like,
yeah, definitely.
When he first was introduced as a fusion, it was like, wow, that is a great champ to put in as a fusion. And nowadays, I'm like, oh man, he so needs to, just bringing it up to speed if you're going to keep him as that fusion, because he's not doing it. He
No,
doesn't do it anymore.
he's so old. It's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Loriaka, she got a big buff. She might be better than people think, but I think at the same time, I've never seen anyone actually use it to do anything. So I think she should still stay in C.
Yeah.
If she's proven to be better, then maybe she could come back into it.
Right. We're going up for big guns now. We've got Newt.
Oh, the best.
Is there anyone on your account you use more than Newt, do you reckon?
No, definitely not. He's so busted, man. I've got 2.
I've got 2.
If I had a third one, I'd probably use him as well more than
Yeah.
these other champs. Like, he's ridiculous. This champ is so good. Maybe some of the others, like the coming up, might be better. I don't know. I think he's still probably gonna be number 1. I think this is probably gonna be most likely number 1 on this list for me.
Yeah.
He's insane. He just kills so many bosses so fast. Opens up Fire Knight hard as well. Just like, yeah, every team is a double Newt team these days.
Yeah. I'd say at least half my teams are double Newt teams.
Yeah.
It's like, oh man. Yeah, definitely like number 1. We'll see, but probably number 1. I think it's so effective.
Yeah.
Right, so next we've got Emic.
I missed this one. I meant to do it, and I missed 25 fragments somewhere and couldn't finish it. It's devastating.
And do you own him or not?
No, I've never bowled him since, which is sad.
Well, so up until recently, I didn't use him a lot. I used him in a bit of just kind of like cheesing Phantom's Grove and that type of stuff. So, but then recently I built him out for Hydra, and he was part of a Trunda team that I had. And now he's part of this kind of like silly Wixwell team.
Yep.
So all of a sudden, he's gone from not really being used to, for me, definitely A.
Yeah, sure. Go for it. I think for a lot of players, again, he's that hard carry like the Helicath sort of was at the time.
Yeah.
But I think he's held value for a lot longer. Yeah, he does a lot of cheese teams in Hydra are built around Emic. Again, a lot of like cheesy style teams as well for multiple bosses are built around him. He opens up so much. Yeah, that cooldown reduction has just kept him relevant. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and then Strategos.
I know.
I didn't do this one.
Yeah, I put him in C. I think so.
I think he's a C. I did see this cool video by Tyraku, who basically just had him like soloing in arena defense.
Right. Yeah.
Because he was totally busted, and honestly, he looked totally busted in that setup. I've never used him. I don't know, but...
like I think that's one of the things. It's like a Withier as well. Like that was how like I've seen people trolling in like Goal 5, like classic arena. You know, just put in your Withier. Yeah. A lot of people just can't kill it. I don't know if that's true anymore, but for a good while that was like, you know, my clanmates would troll. They have like their Withier defense in and be like, "Ha, I'm winning loads. This is funny." I think he's the same sort of thing. But like if you're against someone of equal power, he's just gonna die instantly.
They should just nuke it, yeah.
Yeah, I think he's terrible. I don't like Island at all. I used him a little bit in Hydra because just how the affinities worked out in the teams. I had to, but I didn't enjoy it. I just don't think he's good. I have him 5-star with Brimstone. I throw him in for the Brimstone against Amius, and that's it.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
And what about Bambus? I don't think Bambus is one I've used at all.
I barely use him either, so he should be C. Again, I think Bambus, he's decent. He does some fun stuff. Like you can use him to farm Dragon hard pretty quick.
Yeah.
Use him in Hydra, but I don't actually use him at the moment. He might be in the Faction War team. I think he's not. I think if the Skinwalkers are so strong now, I think he's actually fallen out.
And that's half the battle, isn't it? Like his, like you say, his kit's kind of fun, but just got better options, I guess.
Better options, yeah, pretty much.
Timid, I didn't do. I think you had some nice time with Timid, didn't you? Was it Timid and Kaya?
I used Timid a bit. I put him in B. Like I think when Timid shows up in Cursed City, you're like, oh my god, hard carry. Like he carries those stages. There's decent damage, so much crowd control. He's great. I use him a little bit in Siege as well with Kaja. The problem is I've got no souls for either of them, which makes it tough. It's just tough to use champs at no souls these days.
That's exactly it. Like, you almost make decisions based on that type of thing more than are they the right champion for the job.
Yeah. Like a great damage dealer with a 0-star soul is just never being used for me. It's a
Yeah.
problem. Yeah, I used him a decent bit for Cursed City.
So Udyr Worm Eater.
Mm.
We
Mm-hmm.
were actually talking about this one again
Yeah.
yesterday as a team, weren't we? We were like, is he overrated on the website? Because
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever used him since he came out as a
Yeah.
fusion. And I remember saying like he's got a decent enough kit, but he just
Yeah.
doesn't get anywhere near my teams.
Yeah. It's sort of the story of the fact that this fusion tier list, I think, is you've got lots of really good champions, or like they're kind of like solid in a lot of
Yeah.
areas, but for an end game player, they're not really useful. Ugyr's the same thing, I think, where
It's all of these. There's a big group here where they are good in a lot of content, but they're not great in any content, and that's
exactly.
That's what you get to with endgame. It's like, well, we're now looking for people that specifically do a job really well, and I don't think he fits that.
No, for me, he's very much a progression champ where he's like, he brings increased accuracy and like increased defense and the AoE weaken and buff strip and stuff. It's like, okay, he's really good if you need him to progress, but if you're not progressing in the game, like increased accuracy is one of those buffs. Same problem with Bambas and a couple other champs. It's so good progressing, and then it's almost useless past that because it becomes quite easy to just always build all your champs with enough accuracy.
Yeah, definitely.
So or it's sort of, unless you're building really specific teams, you can't have your champs with needing an increased accuracy buff because then they won't work in a different team. So it becomes awkward. Yeah, I barely use the guy, unfortunately. Ooh,
and Blizzard. So I didn't do the Blizzard fusion because I was saying how trash he was, but then again, people started to solo stuff with Blizzard, and I'm like, damn, that looks kind of nice.
He doesn't work for Amius anymore. They fixed that, but he could solo him for a while. I don't know if he can solo Sand Devil very well either. I think it works, but I don't know. I put him in low B though. Again, he's a Cursed City MVP for me. So good for that.
And why is that? Why?
He's got the AoE freeze, so he's got wave control. He's got a triple hit A1. So for the Fire Knight hard bosses, he carries that as well. He's decent against Amius if you got the big soul for him from his event. I use him a decent bit. Like, I see again just Cursed City, nowhere else. But I see him for Cursed City. He's like Timid. He's very similar to me as Timid. I see them in Cursed City. I'm like, oh sweet, great. I get to bust them out. That's gonna hard carry the stage. Let's go.
This is another one we had a chat about yesterday in terms of like, is she overrated for us?
Yeah, it's tricky.
So decent damage, lots of multi hits, great for Fire Knight. But I don't use her anywhere.
Neither do I. Yeah,
mate. I don't even know if she comes out in her city stuff. Honestly, like.
Yeah, I don't know. The problem I have with Zinogre is I actually tried her in Fire Knight. There was that tournament where we had to use only champs from the bottom 3 factions.
I didn't get her.
Maybe she'd be great in that. She's in the same faction. Kage, brilliant. Let's go. I tried her and she was good, but then I used Ruella, the epic, instead, and she was better.
I was
like, oh shit. Zinogre, she's decent. Single target. Increased speed for the team. She's a decent champ, but I don't use her anywhere. So I think for consistency's sake, she should be in C.
Feels bad. I actually just checked. I didn't even do it. I didn't even do that fusion. So
it's sort of a tricky thing now because now we're in the modern time where like with some of these champs, like Sir Nick, it's very clear. Like nowadays, it's not great, but back in the day, he had his prime, he had his heyday.
He was top tier, He was
top tier.
Huge. Yeah.
But now we've got like these new fusions, and even though that we've got champs that are actually quite decent, because so many of us are like endgame, we've been playing for so long now, it's such a mature game. It's like, they're really for the newer players. They're not great for us. There's a lot of these champs, honestly.
They really have to stand out somewhere.
They do, yeah.
So next one is Ancora.
Ooh.
I mean, for me, I use her a lot.
Like, for me, she's S as well. I use her a lot too.
And that was one of the interesting ones. I guess, I mean, I picked up Narcissus, which makes her a lot stronger, but I think she's really strong anyway, actually. And I think I was guilty of probably underrating her as a fusion before I didn't say she was bad, but I definitely wasn't like this is a must get like some of these other ones that we've spoken about. And
Right.
but I do use her a ton actually. I think she's really effective and one of the best revivers for like non-mythical or whatever that's
100%.
around.
And Cora is one of those champions that ended up, I think, better in practice than she seemed on paper.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
she's crazy good. I've got Narcissus as well, which obviously distorts it because they're such a strong pairing, and it's like that's a lock-in arena team, live arena, tag, siege. That's locked in for sure, all the time. But yeah, she is just a really good champ in general. Like that cooldown reduction ends up being surprisingly useful.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
She definitely exceeded expectations. I think for most people would rate her higher now than they would have at the fusion. I think for almost everybody.
Do you think you use her more than like a Rotus or a
yeah, I do actually. Yeah, I use her more than both of those. 100%.
Yeah, same.
So yeah, wow.
Okay, well, look, this is probably one of my biggest regrets. I did not do Armands on this account. I did it on my I had no resources on my free to play. I was like, I'm going to show you guys. Free to play is not that bad. And like, anyway, like an idiot, I did it on my free to play, but not on my main.
Right.
Even though I knew how broken he was, I was just like, I was traveling at the time. I didn't have time to play 2 accounts. And I mean, damn, he's just everywhere, right? It's just ridiculous.
I put him second behind Newt.
Yeah.
I think Newt is better because Newt, obviously, is useless for arena, but he covers so many other areas.
So many bosses.
It's mostly arena. Like he's just like the first pick champ in live arena, even versus all these mythicals. Like typically you're just gonna pick Armands first anyway. He's that insane.
Yeah.
And for Siege, he's that insane. But he's not. He's really really crazy for crowd control for some waves in Curse City. But he's mostly just the best arena champion, arguably in the game. Certainly the best arena legendary in the game. But yeah,
once he gets going,
it's just over.
He's unstoppable, right? That's the thing with him. Like, if I'm up against him and I outspeed the other team, generally I'll win that fight quite comfortably.
Yeah.
But if I don't, then I probably don't get a turn.
Yeah. And they're never going to nerf him either. They're just now bringing out champions like this new Quilcha guy. This new fusion is sort of supposed to counter him, but I think the new fusion is like, he's not on this list, but I think he's likely, haven't play tested him to be that sort of C tier champ or very low.
Yeah, it could well be. Yeah.
But like they're just now bringing out champs to hard counter Armands, like just specifically like,
not even a mythical, like bringing out people to hard counter a legendary. That's the crazy thing, right? It's,
Yep.
Okay, Eastrid.
Great champ.
I use a lot.
I think she's S for me.
You go S, yeah.
I would go S, yeah. So she is.
I think I agree. I mean, sorry, go on.
I was just gonna say she's a hard lock-in for Hydra teams. Just the AoE weaken with decreased speed, increased attack. There's a lot in there. She's also really good for arena. Like I've seen some people using her as their speed lead champ, which is crazy. But they're just very different builds. And then again, for Curse City, it's like, yep, Aestrid's gonna hard carry that stage.
Yeah, definitely.
Super, super good.
Yeah, I agree. I think she's been one of my surprises, I guess, that I thought she was good on paper, but she's turned out to be. You got champions like Lady Kimmy that on paper is really good.
Yeah,
but I don't use Lady Kimmy a lot. Whereas
Aestrid,
just I use a lot, and it felt like on paper they were similar, but she's just way better.
Yeah. Agreed. Yeah,
okay, so
I have a 6-star Necmo Thor. I actually bought the 6-star soul for Necmo, and that feels real bad because he has now been benched in favor of Aestrid. She's just
really? And see, I've never pulled Necmo as well, and I've always been upset about that. But I mean, she now fills that role for me that I was always sort of lacking. So
yeah.
I mean, we're getting to some of the big ones now. Wixwell. Now, arguably, you could throw Wixwell to the front of the list. Arguably, like
potentially,
totally trivializes Clan Boss. He's part of the biggest damage team now for Hydra, or one of, not the, but
it's
up there.
One of the better ones, but
outside of those 2 areas, and I do now use him in both of those areas. I don't use him at all, so he's a specialist. But then most of these are as well.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is he S for you?
I think he should be S. Yeah, because he's so good against Hydra and Demon Lord. like Demon Lord's not really that important for people. Like you can just
Yeah.
smash it with anything, really. But he's
Yeah, and that's what I used to do, by the way. I used to just throw like 5
yeah,
in, and it'd do the 1 key anyway. But
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, no, he's really he's very, very, very good. Yeah, he's good against lots of bosses and stuff as well. Yeah, he doesn't wow you there, but like he really wows in Hydra and Clan Boss for sure. So I think he does deserve to be S, definitely.
and where do we go from here? The Incarnate.
The Incarnate.
I mean,
See,
I honestly couldn't even tell you what she does. That's
there's nothing.
like I've got no idea what
Yeah.
this champion does right now. I think she was so underwhelming.
She's one of those champs that's just very mid. She's just like, okay, good protection, but not good enough to actually stand out in any area. And like she's got the combo stuff with Arbiter, but again, they just don't actually
that's
synergize
it.
that
Yeah.
well.
Yeah,
So
I
you
remember
can
now.
never
Yeah,
use it. Yeah, she's pretty dreadful, I think. She's a C.
she's an easy C, right? Yeah,
Yeah, easy C for me.
yeah,
In the vault.
and
Maybe she'll
I
be
mean,
good for something, but nah, probably
yeah,
not.
it's interesting because we kind of had this flurry of insane ones, and then
Yeah.
Packmaster. I mean, Packmaster's one of these
Mm-hmm.
like potential to use. I didn't do the fusion actually, but
Yeah,
potential to use in a bunch of places. Did you do the fusion, and do you use him?
I did, yeah. I used them for a little bit against Odin, the Odin dungeon, but
Oh, okay.
now I don't need them. I've got a better team. Double newt team.
Double newt, yeah.
Yeah. Hey.
Same.
So Packmaster's back on the bench, so I don't really use him much, no. But I think he does have potential for being good, so he's one to keep an eye on. Like whenever this they tease like a legendary hound or something to combo with him.
Yeah. That's what everyone's waiting for. Every champ that comes out, it's like, is there the hound? Like, did it make it worth me doing it?
Yeah.
I will say, like, Bronco's done some cool stuff with him though. Like,
yeah,
in a similar way to what he does with Emic, I think he's basically replaced Emic in some teams.
Yeah, I feel like the champ has a lot of potential, and for progressing, like great Hydra champ for progressing, probably good for definitely Shogun with the taunt as well. Like he can do some cool stuff. He's actually pretty decent, but for me, again, personally, I don't actually use him. So
yeah. Okay, we're on to 2 more. So Scorid, again, hard hitter, decent champion, decent Hydra champion.
Yeah. For me,
he's a C. He's a C. Yeah.
Yeah, again, it's the same thing where good damage and he's a good hexer. It's great for Hydra, but again, I don't need him. Like I've got better options. You know, like Trunda is just an entire team. If I had another Trunda, that's another Trunda. I don't.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
You know, it's like so. It's very good for people progressing that need a big damage dealer. For like Spider, he's good for Spider as well. Spider and Hydra, where hex and big damage are good, but for like an end game play, like for me or you, I don't see us really ever using Scarred much.
No. So we're left with 1, Thor. Pretty fun champ, Thor. I think
he's real good.
Probably surprised a lot of people once we actually started playtesting this guy, and
yeah.
And obviously they've just done all the. I'm currently in the process of getting his 5-star soul.
Yeah, I'm going for it too. For me, he's S actually. Like
S.
I rate Thor very highly. He's my new Nightmare campaign farmer and Minotaur farmer. He's also in my 2nd Hydra team. Actually, I guess no, it's technically my 3rd actually. Yeah, but he is in the Hydra team.
Who did he replace for your damage in that team? Do you know?
Turvold.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's in my brutal Hydra team. I'm lazy with the Trunda team a bit. The Trunda team is still on hard. That's the best team though.
Yeah,
because it's so busted. And then on Nightmare, actually, is like Wixwell and Aestrid. And who's the damage on Nightmare? I can't remember. Yeah, I'd have to check. I've totally forgotten.
Yeah. So I'm building my one out. I've been using the bug. Trying to Fateless, is it? Who's the mythical?
Oh yeah. He's real
that's my
good.
damage, and he's just got a buff. So he's He's actually kind of similar to Thor, but I've not built my Thor out yet. So I'm interested to do a bit of testing to see which way's better off. But
yeah, Thor's great, and the fact that you get the soul as well, like that's something as well with these newer champs, because we get your soul if you do that, and that makes them so much better too. And Thor really thrives with his soul.
Yeah, any damage dealer you really want that soul for, don't you? Like at least 4-star.
Yeah, I use Ninja with Mikage for my Nightmare Hydra team. I remember that's what I do.
Oh, okay, yeah.
which is really strong. Yeah, and then Thor's the second team, so we're below that, excluding Trunda. But yeah, I think he's really, really strong. Just big AoE damage, simple as. Not great for arena though, because he's super squishy. But
Yeah.
I use him a lot. You know, I use him.
Yeah, he's a lot of fun. He definitely is a ton of fun.
Yeah.
What's interesting for me recently is I've got double Acrisia.
Right.
Who was always like, oh my god, I'm so lucky to have these Acrisias, like the best champions in the game type of thing.
Yeah.
They're struggling to get in anything. Like,
right.
Newt's overtaking boss killing.
Yeah.
My Hydra teams are no longer just enemy max HP hits. They've got just better ways of doing damage.
Yeah.
And
100%.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess it kind of like shows the same sort of story here with some fusions that when they came out, they were just top tier, but they've gone to the point where, you know, they're struggling to get into any teams. You know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Acrisia is a great example. Like, she was totally overpowered when she came out. Like, she was so much better than everything else. It was busted. But like, I am 90% sure that Thor out damages Acrisia. I'm probably even 95% sure he's better than her at Hydra. Like, he's just, you know, this is how the game's gone.
Definitely. My kind of like all void legendary Hydra team, which was my nightmare team, has just been
demoted.
Dumped. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, look, I mean, that is it. Sorry, it's such a long video. I didn't ever expect it to be this long, but it was fun to go through sort of, you know, walk down memory lane and see what we've had over the years and like how they've changed. I just look, Nubs, thanks for coming on. I'll put all of your info down below, but make sure you go and check out Nubs' channel. But yeah, dude, thank you so much for spending the best part of 2 hours or something here.
Oh my god, is it that long? Oh Jesus,
it's been a while.
Oh dear. Well, yeah, hopefully people enjoyed watching it. Yeah, because it's not just about the list at the end either. I think that's important. It's about the context and where we actually use them. It's hopefully it's helpful to people for like judging fusions and really thinking about well, for me personally, for how long I'm playing the game and for the champions I actually have, like, how does this champion fit in? Because like someone who's C tier for me might be S tier for somebody else.
Definitely.
But then again, someone that's S tier for me is probably S tier for everyone. Like Nuke's gonna be OP for everyone. So yeah, but there we go. Thanks for having me on. It's been a pleasure.
All right, well, it was fun. Thank you for watching. If you're still here, well done, and we'll see you in the next one.